Oh Lord, I'm on a permanent holiday. I'm going outside to play. I ain't gonna slave away. Not for no corporate Babylon.
Video and the video file and the
And
audio
you like
file.
audit it. You make it
I
like.
tried to tell you earlier. I actually did tell you everything earlier.
I know you did.
So,
What?
but
Can you just reiterate? Like, I don't care about like.
I take all the files separately,
I just
and I
wanna
have to
understand your
align the
process.
video
Okay.
with the audio, and
Okay.
that's why I gotta order new cameras. So
Correct.
that
Okay, I understand. I'm not
I don't
trying
have to do any of that. and
Yeah.
I can just focus on other editing.
It was not to put you in like a thing.
So let's start.
Okay. I'm going to talk.
Yeah. So we got.
Wait, are we recording?
Did you always want to cook?
That I always want to cook. I don't think so. Like, I think that it just kind of. Like, I just started to like bake when I started to begin with everything.
Baking?
Yeah, like baking. Like, but I didn't like baking like
sweets and cakes?
no, more like breads. Like
Okay.
I like the process of like the yeast and like making like cinnamon rolls and like breads. But like I didn't like making cakes.
Have you ever made like your own starters and mothers?
No, because I don't think I was like in like I didn't know like what that meant, so like I didn't know like that was a thing. But like I enjoyed making like pastas and like eating things and like the thing. But like making like a cake was like I didn't really care about making a cake because I didn't like eating cake.
Yeah.
And so like
I've never been a cake fan.
yeah, so like I didn't really care about making cakes, but like I enjoyed making like breads, like, and I don't really know where that started from, but like I just like started doing it, and then eventually like I think through middle school, like one of my friends was just like having a party, and I would like make cookies for her with my family, and then at some point like my sister started going to like art school or like an art after program, and on Sundays I would just make dinner. But I would
try to have the mic a little bit closer.
Okay.
Like move it towards you.
yes, it's
Like
like
I have
interactive. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, closer. Yeah. You
Okay.
can stay further from it. Just let the mic be.
But
closer.
is this okay? Like
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
this
you're
is
good.
okay.
You're good.
Do I continue?
Yeah. You're talking about baking cookies for the sister?
Yeah, no, but like I think I had a friend in like 8th grade, and like in a big like she had like her mom like used to sell like vendor parties, which was like
Vendor parties?
yeah.
Okay.
So like she made like earrings, and like it wasn't like I guess like an official thing, but like it was like a group. And I can't really say that I remember what it was, but like they invited me, and so like I made like bread and like.
Try to stay away from
Okay.
the cord.
They invited me to make like bread, and like I had like a certain 2 like recipes that I made, and like we made cookies for it, and we sold it. And like I don't remember what I made, but somehow like the baking.
Do you remember like enjoying it?
I think I do because it was like. I don't remember like what triggered the interest in baking, but I don't really remember what happened, and I don't like think there was like a significant reason why. I think I just like was like it was like random. Like I don't know what triggered that, but and I don't know what triggered the cooking part of it. Like when my sister started going to like art school on Sundays, I would make pork chops and like. They were really bad. Like, I would make the same thing every week, and they were dry. And, like, up until, like, a while ago, like, I was, like, turned off the pork chops. I was like, wow, like, they're gross. But it wasn't, like, a factor of, like, I wasn't, like, encouraged to keep trying. It was just, like, I was just doing my thing. And, like, I was just, like, there wasn't ever, like, a goal to be successful. It was just, like, I was just, like, oh, like, let me just make pork chops. And then there was, like, other, like, shit that came along with it. But, like, just like outsider facts of like what like the nice tail of I guess like I would like make pork. I don't know. It was just like a thing. But I feel like don't know. Like, I don't know what transcended like baking to pork chops, like, or like baking to cooking. And like my mom knew how to cook, and like I grew up with.
Shit. Hold on.
Okay. Did it not record? Oh no, it's okay.
No, it's okay. I just gotta make more space.
Okay, can I?
Yeah, do what you gotta do.
And
Do what you gotta do.
I'm learning your doors. See, that's not a door, but I want to snoop. I'm not going to. But not snooping like I care what you're doing. I'm interested. You work at all tomorrow, or I guess today?
Alright, so you were saying about your cookies and baking.
Saying. Oh yes. Yeah, like I guess like in middle school, I just started being interested in like baking, but not so much like baking like cakes and the cookies. I just like the yeast process. Like I liked working with yeast, like breads and stuff. But I think like one of my friends in middle school, my 8th grade year, she had her mom's like sold jewelry and like a not something like a yard sale, but it was like a it was like Mary Kay makeup, so it was like the main thing, and like they had like an open thing, and I was like, and I somehow like I got like included or like invited or whatever, but it wasn't like a formal thing. So like I made some breads, like 3 Kings bread, which is like a Easter type of bread. It's like a sweet bread, and like spent like all night making cookies with my family, and that was like my first like like sales of like bread. But then I don't really know like what like the switch was like to cooking was, because like I enjoyed baking, but then I like started making pork chops for dinner, like, and like every week it was like the same. But then at like some point like I met this girl, like I think like when I actually like applied for like cooking school, or was just like, oh, like this is interesting, like I kind of like it, was like this girl, boyfriend that I was dating at the time, like they were broken up or whatever. She was applying for culinary school, and I was like, oh, like maybe that's an option. Like school was not a thing. Like I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. Like maybe like speech therapy or like psychology, and cooking was just like, oh, like I like to cook. Like why not? But then like when like I didn't tell my parents I applied to Johnson Wales, which is where she applied to, and it was a free application. And it was for the baking program because it's like all I kind of knew, but I got like approved, and they were just like, oh, is it like something you want to do? And I was just like I don't know. But then I think that's when I was just like, huh, like I think that's when like the switch from like baking to cooking made, like, cause they weren't not supportive, but they were like, culinary will have more opportunities, like you should like, and I found that like knowing how to make a cake brings you a lot farther. Like if there's a role where you're like, if you're in charge and like you're able to make someone a cake, or like kind of like know what to do to provide for that, like that has a complete other service. So it's like it was just kind of like a combination, and I feel like them kind of shifting my focus to more like culinary was like, I was probably smart, because that is like the basis, and then you can do the other things, and like baking a pastry is important. But if you only know how to do that and you don't know how to cook, well, like that completely like separates you from like a sector of like jobs and like opportunities, if that makes sense. But like if you're a chef who knows how to make a cake, and so like your pastry chef is out, or like you're in a really small company, and you're like, oh, hey, like we need 60 cupcakes for this, and you're like, hey, like I know how to make cupcakes, like you have that knowledge to like be able to kind of pull it off. And so I think that's where it was more like, if you can make, but it's also just like, hey, can you make 60 steaks? and that takes a lot more technical, I guess, like understanding like how it works. And like you can make 60 cupcakes and maybe mess it up, but if you make 60 steaks and you mess it up, that's a lot of money. So anyways, yeah, I think that shift was like important, even though like I didn't like know it was like a thing.
Well, yeah. I know that a lot of top tier fine dining chefs, and not just fine dining, but a lot of top tier fine dining, well rounded chefs begin in pastry initially.
Yeah,
not all, but there's a lot out there that like
because it is very technical.
It, super well rounded, super polished,
right?
Because they started with pastries and baking first, because that's way more of a science than cooking savory.
Definitely, and like it is like for me, I think it was like it wasn't intentional, but I enjoyed parts of like it. But then when I was challenged, like when I worked in France, like I was like they asked if I could make a cake, and I was just like yeah, like why not? Like let me try, and like if it wasn't perfect, like
you worked in France.
Yeah, like from when I moved here to Seattle, I just felt for some reason I was just like I need to do something abroad. Like I was like I don't know why, but like I feel like it was something that I needed to do.
Yeah.
And so like I just like looked at like random things. Like I didn't want to like have like a job, like, but it was like work away where like you could go, and it was for everything. It was mostly for like babysitting and stuff. But I specifically looked up restaurants, and it was like just like a restaurant starting after COVID, and I was just like, and it just like it felt like that was what I needed to do. Like I don't know why, but then that opened up a door to like a completely different part, like a completely different thing that I didn't even know. Like meeting my birth family or my birth mom. It was just like, and just it was like a door, but like that, like for some reason, I needed to do that before beginning my life in Seattle, and it just opened up like a whole different thing. And then I was able to come here and like start my life here.
So how long did you work in France?
I mean, it was like 4 months, like maybe like 2 months. Like it wasn't a long time, and it wasn't like, it wasn't like a fine dining restaurant. It wasn't anything fancy, but it was a restaurant that was reopening from COVID, and they were only taking like applicants, like volunteers. So not like, employees per se. Like, I mean, we were paid, but I worked with, and I was expecting like, I'm like, oh, Europe, like, and I've never really like been to Europe. And I'm just like, let me just go volunteer at this random restaurant in the middle of nowhere in France. Like it wasn't Paris. It was like south of France. Like I didn't know the language. Like I was like, yeah, like let me go just work with people. Like, I don't know, like why not?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, oh, like I'll meet people from like all over. And everyone was from like a different company, not a company, but like a different Europe that spoke Spanish. Except one person who spoke French and English. But also like since I like understood the cooking.
Most of the people in France spoke Spanish?
No, so like the volunteer, like so everyone who like was there as a volunteer, like one person was from Spain. They spoke Spanish. One person was from Colombia. They spoke Spanish. So everyone pretty much that was there that just happened to be volunteering spoke Spanish. And I'm thinking like oh, like I'll meet someone from Germany, and like, oh, like so many different countries, and everyone was Spanish speaking. And like it was fine, but I thought it was just kind of funny. I'm just like, oh, like in America, everyone is Mexican. Like, like everyone's Spanish speaking, which is fine. Like I have a huge respect, and like I value that so much. And like I don't care if I were to have an employee who came to me, knocked on my door, and was like, hey, I'm looking for work, I would choose them over the person who's like, oh, I can do this, like the more like entitled type of like vibe. She's like, no, because you want to work. So it wasn't like that, but I was just thinking like, oh, Europe, like so like fancy and like different languages. And then everyone just ended up speaking Spanish. And I was like, okay, like cool. But it wasn't so much that. It was just like these people, no experience. Like I've never met them. Like I don't really know, like, their because Colombian Spanish versus Brazilian Spanish is very different. But they could understand. There was a...
Brazil speaks Portuguese.
Okay, but like the point I'm making is like their languages that they spoke were close enough where they could have a conversation together. Like it was understandable and
A
like
lot of similarities in
exactly
Spanish
and like
Portuguese.
I was like I was the minority, but it wasn't like it was the minority because I was just like I didn't know the language, but I understood. But where like I was able to like train and like do like be like do what I knew what to do and like knew like they so even if I didn't know the language, showing them like the how to do the action of like cooking or like teach them something or like learn how to serve. Like I didn't serve a lot, but making it work. 4 different random people coming together to just run a kitchen, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know your language, but like I know the industry, like I know how a kitchen works, like I know how like I understand this, so well let's do it and like let's pull it off. And like that was the satisfaction of just like okay, like it was like something I feel like I needed before I started Seattle. I don't like it was just like a random like thing, and it wasn't even that like I was trying to do, but it just kind of was like yeah, like okay, like cool, like if I can do this, like if this can work and like this can somehow come together with very like I don't know these people, I've never worked with them, and we somehow can pull off and we can somehow have a good service and we can somehow have a successful night, like that's a win for me. Like that was like it's like heck yeah, like if the owner can take a night off and have a dinner with his wife or like his girlfriend and have the kitchen pull off a busy Friday when like it's difficult because they're not culinarily trained, but if we can do that and he can go back and be like hey like nice, like he didn't have to come back and like save us or like because we couldn't do it. It's like no, like we were able to do it, and like it was just a good feeling of being like oh cool, like that was cool, like heck yeah, like yeah. So
Yeah,
and
that's
it
cool.
yeah, so it was. And then that just opened like another like more personal journey that I was like oh cool, like this is also something I need to do. So then coming to Seattle, I felt like confident in taking like more like a leadership roles because I was like if I can do this in a random country that I've never been to, in a language that I don't know, people I don't know, and we can pull this off, and like it's not like it's not the it's like if you have the support and you have like a basic crew that wants to learn and wants to like and kind of understand a little bit, but if you don't have that, like how can you run a team or something if you're the only one who knows how to do everything, but you can't like you don't have the support or ability to like be able to like have the team help you because they are doing their thing. And so
So, were you already in Europe, or you just went there specifically for that?
like it was specifically just for the workaway. Like I didn't really have a plan, but like I like my ex and
Did
I.
you find that like somewhere, or it's just like you just went to Europe?
No. So like I did like I looked at workaway. Like I don't know what brought me to it, but so my initial I think like thought of like international was I worked for the Four Seasons in Wyoming, and that was like kind of like a connection to like I would have probably worked for them in the middle of like my culinary internship, but like life happened and I didn't. But then when I went home like after college and stuff, like after like a breakup or whatever and like COVID, I was just like okay, like like I knew I wanted to go west, like be west, and I don't really know why, but I just was just like I just want to like I just wanted to be I just wanted to like explore something new. And so like the Four Seasons was like a company that like when I originally applied for them like in my internship, like I enjoyed that each like location I guess like kind of was not the standard like metal like hotel look. Like each had like a personality revolving around the place they were like located into, like like the Four Seasons in Wyoming had like a vibe of like You're not going into Wyoming and then entering this like 40-foot story building that's like made of, this like 40-foot, it was like each of their locations was catered to the vibe of the area. And I think I liked that. And I was like, that's pretty cool. They're respecting the location they're at, but also, doing their own thing. And so, like, I looked into them and I was able to get, like, a full-time job because my parents were like, you need to get a full-time job. And my intention was, like, just keep job hunting, like, seasonal work.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, like, yeah, like, I'm like, yeah, like, that's right. But then I found something in Wyoming. And so I moved to Wyoming randomly, like, because, like, why not? I was like, what else am I doing? So I took, like, I had, like, 2 suitcases and, like, moved to Wyoming and, like moved into a motel. And, like,
motel, really?
yeah, like, because their employee housing was motels.
Yeah, okay.
And, like, all my jobs, I guess, like, after New York, like...
Were you on, like, a ski mountain in Wyoming?
I was, but, like, I was, like, at the bottom of it. So, like, I had, like, access to, like... So there was, like, Jackson Hole, which was, like, right here. And I was in, like down the street where it was, like, just inconvenient.
So you got the Jackson Hole employee housing?
No, I didn't, like... Cause
so
I didn't...
who were you working for? Can you please try to watch
sorry.
the cable?
So I was working for...
Sorry.
So I was working for the Four Seasons, and they, I guess, like, owned the motel, or they had, like, a deal with one of the motels that they housed with, but it wasn't in Jackson Hole per se, because, or, like, if they were, it was, like, just inconvenient enough to where, like, you would, like, have to, like, take a bus, like, 5 minutes to, like, go to the store, or, like, go to the restaurant. Which wasn't horrible, and, like, and they had a bus service to the actual mountain to work. But then they closed down the motel I was at, and they moved everyone to, like, this other motel set where, like, my ex was at. But I got somehow lucky and, like, got moved into a cabin where it was, like...
What company were you working for?
Four Seasons. Like, that was...
Okay.
And so I moved into, like, this motel, like, a cabin.
Yeah.
But I was sharing with 4 other girls, but, like, I was
But still, like, cabin's pretty cool.
Right. So, like, it was kind of cool because I was,
like... an employee housing.
Yeah, and, like, it was employee housing, but, like, I applied.
Roommates, not always very
Like,
cool.
I applied for the... But, like, otherwise I would have had, like, to pay a motel, because there was, like, options. Because the person that I lived with when I first moved there, she was, like, the best roommate ever, and I'm really, like, I'm still friends with her, and I'm just like, wow, like, you were just, like, it was just a really great, like, roommate, but we were each paying, like, $800 a month to, like, live in a motel room that had, like, one burner sink thingy, like, the bare minimum. And so when I moved into the motel, like, the cabin associated with the other motels, I don't know how I got it, but I think I knew one of the girl, like, I knew some of the people, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. And then I, like, started dating someone, and he had a single. So, like, I stayed with him, but, like, I paid, I guess, less.
So how were the roommates at the cabin? Were they all pretty cool?
Yeah, so, like, one of them I kind of got to know because she was, like, kind of the same schedule as me, and she did breakfast with my ex. And to be honest, I feel like I thought that, like, they were, like, a better match in a weird way. But, like, not in, like, it's just, I don't know, it was just, like, yeah, I was just like, But I didn't, like, question it. I didn't think of that because there was, like, I felt like anything was, like, going on.
Yeah.
But I just felt like a vibe. I was just, like, I would probably make a better match.
Yeah, they clicked.
Like, yeah, and she was with someone else, but he wasn't, and, like, she was going through her own things, and, like, they broke up, like, her and her partner broke up, and then they're back together, and, like, their things, but, like, her and I, like, we kind of bonded, I guess, like, we became kind of friendly, but because I was with my, like, the person that I was with, like, pretty immediately when I moved to Wyoming, and, like, and it wasn't intentional or anything, but, like I just, like, we just kind of started seeing each other. So, like, I spent, like, my time with him and, like, staying at his cabin, where the 3 girls at my cabin were, like, getting to know each other and, like, going, like, lake days and, like, doing that thing. But I decided, like, I wanted, to, like, spend my time with this person. And, like, there was never any, like, guilt or, like, and I didn't feel like I missed and stuff. But I was just like, okay, like, like, I like needed, like should have fostered, maybe some like a bit more of that friendship too. And so like, and that's been like a, like a thing that I've tried to like work on and stuff. And like those friendships, like at least like one of them is like kind of held more. But like when I left, they wrote like a nice card. It was like nice to read like what they, like a goodbye card, and it was just like nice. And I'm like, okay. So I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, it was like for some reason I felt like from Wyoming to Seattle, like I was just like, oh, after Wyoming, I was like, I need to do something international. And like, I don't know why. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I just felt like it was like what I needed to do. And then I was just looking, and like I found the France thing, and I was just like, cool. And like, it was kind of shitty on my ex because we moved in, and then 7 days later I left for a month, and like left him to like be alone in our new apartment.
What were you doing when you were working at the Four Seasons?
Oh, what was I doing? I was a fucking salad bitch at lunch.
So you were working in the kitchen?
Yes. And like I've always worked in the kitchen. I've always been like the kitchen part. But I was a salad bitch. But I also fucking crushed it. And like
It's not very difficult to crush the salad station.
No, for sure. But what I'm saying is just like I was like, I'm like, oh fuck, like I'm fucking put on garde-manger. But and I've always like viewed garde-manger as like, I'm like, oh, they fucking put girls there because like they don't think they can do anything else. But
a lot of garde-manger stations are fucking
intense. But the garde-manger station for lunch that I had, like I had to make guacamole.
I don't like that way of looking at
exactly.
it. There's nothing wrong with garde-manger.
No, completely. But I think
it can be a very technical station.
I completely agree, and I think like that
Not
place.
From what you said.
I agree with you, but like I think when I first was put on it, I was just like oh, like cool, like I'm the girl that's being put on it. But then I saw what it was, and I was just like, wait, like I'm like, wait, like I can, like this is not hard, like I'm crushing it, and this stupid guy can't do it. And like I'm like, okay, like I'm like no. And so what I'm saying is like there was
what
like,
did you guys have coming off of that station?
So we had like every day we had to make like a bunch of guacamole and like all these like frying chips and like, more so just being like ahead of the steps. Like once I realized that, like instead of having like every time someone ordered a thing of chips, like we'd have to fill it. I was just like, okay, like we're busy, so like let me pre-fill some stuff. Like let me pre-fill some guacamole based on kind of knowing what we're gonna sell. And so then that saved me time. Like I got into a system of just like, wow, like I'm making my life easier, and we're selling the product, and I'm like doing things that are being more efficient, not wasting food. And so then when I started doing that, when people started being like, instead of them having to wait 5 minutes for me or someone else like me to do chips, I'd be like, oh, here, like you need more chips here. Like it was already pre-done because I realized that like, wow, I can spend like 10 minutes filling 20 things of chips, and that will save me half an hour in this service. And so then like, as I kind of started taking my own initiative to like figure out like, okay, like how can I make this easier for myself and also the person needing it, then I was like, oh wow, spending an extra 10 minutes making a bunch of guacamole is so worth it to having to run out of guacamole and then go make more. So like my own process of like how to like deal with it was like noticed, and like other, like they were like telling, other employees like who had the roles on my days off, to like do that too.
Just
and
being
like
on your mise en place game.
Right.
Yeah.
But then on top of it was just like, I was like I like was not like micromanaged. Like in the chef that I had, like I really liked him because he was very approachable, and I could be like, hey, like how many, like, we have this today, we have this today, then we have this today, give him the information that he needed and he could write it down. Like he didn't have to question, it was a very like, or like, hey, we're going to need this. Like, it was just a very like if I needed something, like I would ask. If he needed to ask me about something, like I would try to be 2 steps ahead and be like, no, like I got it. But then like, and my goal was, I wanted to go on the dinner menu because I really enjoyed, like I liked the dinner menu. Like I liked, what they were kind of doing. And I was like, okay, this is exciting. And so like I was, toward the end of, I guess, of like my first like quarter, every, the news that like I was being moved to dinner was like, people were like, oh, like cool, like, oh, I heard you were being moved to dinner, like that's awesome. I've heard really cool things, like, you're like, it was like, oh yeah, like I'm really excited. And the chef that was moving to dinner was, one of the ones that I enjoyed working with. The ones that, he was kind of like, he kind of was kind of an asshole, but he was approachable, and you could be like, hey, like I want to, like I'm interested in like learning why you're doing it like this, because I want to know. And he wouldn't be like prideful. He'd be like, he'd want to teach you and like foster you. And it's like, I want to keep continuously learning. But then I got like, and I went on on like a task workforce, where I went to a completely different 4 seasons for the summer and just like helped them out, and like, went to a completely random kitchen and just like did whatever they needed me to do. Yeah. And that was like a fun opportunity for me, because like I like traveling, and like I like putting myself in situations where I'm like, okay, cool, I get to learn, and like, like
plus it's like fun seeing other kitchens,
exactly,
and the way they're set up,
exactly,
and the way they're running,
and the way that
things.
they like the way that they treated like the dishwasher. It was just like, oh, like was so like, just the way that they treated everyone was just so like respectful. And like I had a jacket on, and like the dishwasher, like, the chef is just like, oh, hey chef, like it was just a very respectful work area. And I was like, wow, like I'm just like, I'm literally like I'm cutting peppers, and I'm like, being respected is like, someone who's part of the team. And so I really liked that. I was just like, wow, like this is an inclusive place. Like everyone feels like they're important, and like they are important. Like, and then I went back to the 4th season, like ready to do dinner. I'm like, wow, like I'm feeling like confident, and like, wow, like, like cool, let's do this. And then I got a chef who was like a bigot and kind of an asshole, and he was sexist, and he was like, had like a fucking issue against women, and he would like be an issue. And so he like fixated. And so I was also trying to get like a promotion kind of thing, like from a cook 1 bullshit to like a cook 2, which is not a big deal. Like I was like, when I first started, like they put me on employee like meals, and like at first I was like, oh, that's a bunch of bullshit, I don't do employee meals. But like, you're responsible for feeding the entire company twice a week, and like you can do whatever you want, like you can, but you have to feed them. And like I took the initiative to be like, okay, like at 10 o'clock, are they gonna want a pizza? So I like put a breakfast thing in motion. Like I put the initiative to do that. And I'm like, if my chef didn't trust, like if I can do, like if I'm being put on employee safety meeting, like I'm not being monitored, like I'm not being like watched over. So it's like, okay, obviously like I'm being trusted to do this. And but then it just like, I got put in a situation where this sous chef, who was like not worth, like fuck, like he was not worthy of a sous chef. He was an asshole, and he just didn't like non-white women. Like I don't know, like because he hit on like the Mexican whatever, and like he just fixated on like calling me out.
He didn't like the non-white women.
He didn't like the white women, or like he didn't like he had a complex of something, and there was like a dude there.
So he was racist against white women.
And he was sexist too, because there was like a guy there who was 19, and like I was like over 20, and it definitely, like when I was in Wyoming, like it definitely had like 5+ years of experience of like, maybe not in the same restaurant, but like multiple different, like experiences. And like I've worked every station, like, and this dude who like graduated the CIA in like 2017 was like a cook 1, and I was when I was making shit, I had to answer to that stupid fucking cook 1 guy who cooked for 2 years, and being like, oh, like, it was a salad thing he said. And it was just like, and I was just like, wow, like, okay, cool. Like I have to constantly prove that, like, just like, it was like a guy's club. And then my ex, and like, no offense to him, he was he didn't even enjoy his job. He wasn't really good at it, but he got promoted to a cook 2. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, I have more years of experience than him, and he doesn't even fucking like what he does. And my requirement to my requirement or like goal to fucking advance to a cook two was like, oh, we need to see how you work on the hotline and like make a burger. And I was just like, yeah, like, you know what, fuck off, like, no. And it just was just like, and I was kind of mad at like my ex, not at him, but I was just like, wow, like, you're a fucking cook too, and no offense, but like, I'm a lot fucking better than you. And it just, yeah, and it was just like that culture of like, I'm like, why, like, I don't fucking need to prove to everyone, like just because you like you go skiing with this person, they're like, oh, you're best friends, so you become like, you get to be this person. So I was just like, you know what, like, I was like, fuck off. I was like, no, like, and I was kind of sad about it because I was really, and I have to say, like, I don't think it was the Four Seasons as a whole as a company, but I think like that, like, maybe, you know, because in Miami when I worked for them, I felt like everyone was like so like valued and like inclusive and so like respected, like even if
But
they
you
were
just said that they were also.
no, but like at the Wyoming one they were not. They
You
had
just said like a minute ago that they were.
no, maybe I did, but what I'm trying to say is like they were not. They had a fucking boy, like they had a club, and like if they didn't want you to, like if you weren't part of it, like if you didn't go skiing with them, and like if you know you weren't like, but then also Tristan got to be a cook too for like what fucking reason? Because he was a dude, like, and I'm like there was no like, you know, but then my reasoning that I had to prove myself that I can do it because I had to cook a burger first when my salad station required me to cook salmon and steak and like hold temperatures and a lot more technical skill than like most salad spaces. But I'm like, oh, I have to cook. I can prove a fucking burger to you. But then during my time on the dinner line, I was like the middle station, and the chef that I had, who was a fucking asshole, was just like an asshole. And I remember one of the cooks next to me, Chris, and he works in like the Faroe Islands now. And like I stay in touch with him, and like one day I'm gonna go there.
Well, how so? How is this chef an asshole?
Like he just like he was just very much like he's just like, oh, you have like you have to like have like this person taste your food. And I was just like, okay, like I'm gonna respect like what you want. Like I'm gonna come every day, like even though like I'm frustrated, like I'm gonna still come to you and be like, hey, like what do I need to do? Or like, hey, like what, you know, like still put the effort into show like, okay, like how can I, you know, what do I need to do? Or like, hey, like this is like communicating just like what he was asking for, even though I was feeling like, you know, you're fucking bullshit. But I'm like, okay, I'm like, no, like you're my chef, like fine, whatever, I don't fucking like it, but I'm still gonna respect you. And you know, you're asking me for certain things, so I'm gonna do it. You know, like I'm gonna come every day with like a positive attitude, even though if the day before you decided to like call me out and make me feel like shit because like, oh, salads need to look pretty or like some bullshit like that, and like be like, you need to answer to this person when like this person has like is like fucking 17, and just like putting a
well, age
like
doesn't really have anything to do with it.
No, but it's
There's
like
plenty of 17-year-olds that have been cooking since they were
right,
13.
but these 17-year-olds were like just fresh out of culinary school that worked for 2 years and
Okay.
had like no experience at all. But because, and I have to say like because like it was a very girl focused thing.
There's also times where most times you know experience speaks for itself, and it helps to have a lot of years under your belt. But when people just got natural skill, you don't necessarily need
Right,
to
but
have
I don't think
all
it
that
was.
much
I
experience.
don't think it was natural skill because like the things that they were doing, like the role, like the stations that they were having was like it wasn't fucking rocket science. It was just like, okay, I have to have like 4 different chefs taste my mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
When this person makes the mashed potatoes, he doesn't have to have anyone taste it. And so it was just like
Yeah, but like they've gotten to that level.
I mean, you can. I just. And like, and most times it's like you know, like you know, and like.
You
like,
just
yeah.
really felt strongly that it was just an unfair thing.
I felt strongly that it was like a very sexist thing because it wasn't just me who was like being treated that way. It was like other women in like like he never did anything like inappropriate towards me, but he was like he made my experience in that role of like he just like specifically like called me out to like make me like have to like answer to all these other people who didn't fucking mean shit. It's like, what were they doing? Like making fucking mashed potatoes, but they don't have to answer to this chef. It's like only I have to. But then with the other women, he would make like inappropriate comments, like he would like actively like sexualize them, and like he just didn't like white women. Like he wasn't sexually attracted to me. It's like, good, I don't want you to be. So he decided like the tactic he used was like, a different way. But if I was Mexican, he would have fucking asked me to suck his dick in the walk-in, like he did like other people. So it's like, so it was just like his issue. Like he just had a thing.
That shit won't fly these days. You got
right. So it's just like because I wasn't Mexican, he didn't ask me to suck his dick, but I still had to like get this fucking 17-year-old's approval. And like I agree, like yeah, like age doesn't matter. But if I have 8 years on my belt and this fucking kid has like 2, and you have natural skill, like no, like if like. I respect, like, if you're 18 and you're a sous chef and I'm your line cook, I'm not going to disrespect you. Like, I'm not going to question you as just like, okay, like, I will respect who's my sous chef or like who's in charge of me and like, put in the effort, but it's like, and then, it was just like a thing. It's like,
you gotta earn it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's just like, oh, because we, like, you're not like,
you gotta try to do me a favor. Instead of saying like and expecting everyone to know exactly what you're talking about, go in a little more detail and just instead of just saying like, because you're doing this a lot.
Yeah, I know, I do that.
I'm not trying to be mean.
No.
But
tell me, because
nobody knows like what like means.
Yeah, I understand.
So like instead of saying like, just tell us what the hell you're talking about.
It felt as so in that specific role, since everyone already had like a reputation being the new person or have, consistent and being a female, honestly, because my ex, he didn't do shit. Like he didn't do employee meals. He wasn't given that extra, role. That was a total freedom role. And
so you were working with your boyfriend?
No, like we were, but like since we were together, like we had to work separate departments.
Okay.
But his department, he worked like an Asian thing, and he didn't enjoy it. He complained about it, and then like he wasn't very good, but he did fine. But because he could cook a burger, he got promoted to cook 2. But over here, I was put on a employee meal thing, but that included a freedom and a trust to be. Hey, like, go, here you go. And so I took advantage of it. Like, I made it like, I went above and beyond, not because to prove anything, but I was just like, at 10 o'clock, maybe people don't want pizza. Like, why not have yogurt out? Maybe because people start at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Why not have these things out? Yeah. So, like, I had the extra time,
I'll crush pizza any time of day.
Yes, like, for sure. But when I had the yogurt out or the just
I'd
the
way
little,
rather have some eggs and bacon.
The little things, and now like I didn't make eggs and bacon, but I had made, we had already poached eggs made. Like it was like pre-bought, but I'm like, well, why not?
Did you say poached eggs?
No, not poached, but like boiled eggs. Okay. And so a lot of things were maybe pre-done, but I'm like,
I ain't never heard no fucking pre-bought poached eggs before.
But we had like a thing of poached, pre-done boiled eggs. And it's just like, why not? Sense. Why not take 6 of them and put them out? Or like grab some yogurt that's already, or like grab some granola bars. And we had bagels. And I was like, you know what? Maybe someone at 8 o'clock doesn't want pizza and they want a bagel. And it was just like, it wasn't a lot of effort, but it was just the extra to like, I wanted to do it because I wanted to, try to, make everyone happy.
Yeah.
And I was, able to do that. And then I worked with other people. And I was like, I wasn't like watched over. It was just like, this is your shift. And I was like, okay, cool. And I kind of enjoyed it because I got to, do whatever. But, and like that type of responsibility is like, I feel a lot more valuable than being like, oh, like, you can cook a burger and you can do this, so you get to be promoted because you're able to do this, but we have to see that you can cook a burger.
Could you cook a burger?
I can cook a burger. I've cooked.
I'm not saying if you can now. I'm asking
I
you
could.
if you could
At
then.
the time that I worked with them, like in that time, that was in like 2020.
Could you do all those things that those
Yes,
people
I
could do?
could, and I like my experience proved, and the fact, and like not just like on paper, but I like could pinpoint exact like the red
Are
onion.
you just saying you could cook a burger?
No, I could. I did burger nights at the Red Onion for like 8 months, and like I had my temperature thing and I fucking crushed it and did all this shit.
All right.
So it wasn't like, but it was like, before we can promote you to this, you have to show that like, oh, you can do this, and it's like, okay, like I guess that's fair, but also, but why does this person who has less experience and like who is cooking a burger maybe once an hour and like actually like doesn't really like his job is way less like technical skilled than what I'm doing, but oh, he gets promoted, and it's just like, oh, I have to prove that I'm able to, and it was solely because he was a fucking dude, and like I've throughout my career, I've not really felt that divide of like men versus women, because honestly, in my career of like cooking outside of school, I guess I'm like wow, like I'm totally comfortable and confident that like I can up cook some random fucking shithole dude that comes in and wants to work a line. Like I'm not intimidated that, and now I'm not saying like a chef, somebody has like 30,000 years, but if it's me and like some like dude, it's just like I have no problem. I'm showing him, and I know I can because I've done it multiple times again. But you want to compare me to some fucking dude who did baking for 4 years, and then like did culinary for 1, when I have like 5 years of culinary experience on all these different stations. But I still have to prove that I can do this before I can get this. But he didn't have to prove shit. Like he didn't have to prove anything. That he could do it, and half the time he
I get it.
Yeah. So anyway, that experience, I was just like, it was just like disheartening, I think, because I was really like excited about like working, and that was, I guess, like the first time I've worked for like a corporate company, but I liked the Four Seasons as like a whole, and since I worked in Miami as well, I did not feel that at all. I feel like they completely treated everyone like with like dignity and respect, and like even if their role was a dishwasher, they were extremely like valued and like treated with respect, and there was no like club, there was no like you have to prove yourself. It's like if you can do your job and you're showing it up every day, like you're already proving it. And so I think just the Four Seasons, like in Wyoming, it was just such a niche.
Was there like a lot of partying going on?
I mean, I never went to their barbecues, but I don't know what was going on, but they were all like all
I'm
best
not
friends.
talking about no barbecues. I'm talking
No,
about
no. I
partying.
completely understand, but I'm saying barbecues in the sense of like I didn't really party then. Like I didn't like start doing that until like more recently. So it's like, but like also I was just like I don't want to hang out with them. Like
it's definitely not a bad thing.
No, but also it was just like I don't want to hang out with them because I didn't have anything in common with them. It's like I don't need to be their friend, and not because like I was like F them, but it was just like I don't really like, I don't do the things that they do. So like, but why do I have to be a part of the group like outside to be like included in like these things? So I was just like, no, like if I show up and I prove that I'm consistently doing my job.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I was just asking in general.
No.
Was there a lot of partying going on?
I feel like there was definitely like.
I was not equating one thing to the other.
I think that was, partying, like, I don't know what Wyoming does, but I'm going to say that there was like, there was a group. There was
you just don't know. You don't know. Like if you're partying yourself, like
right. So like I can't say that they were, but there was definitely like.
But I mean, you could be hanging out, and a lot of the times,
right,
there's shit going on.
There was a vibe. There was definitely like there was a group of. They were all like friends, and like what they did in their spare time, whether it was like partying or like going on a lake thing, like I don't know. But also I didn't really care to, like, I didn't need to I was like, like I don't care. Like,
So you didn't ever hang out with coworkers?
not so much then. Like I did like with the people that like I liked, like my housemates, like Karina, who like I kind of connected with. Like we
I
spent
mean,
time
it
together.
makes sense. Like I totally understand. Like these people are being fucking sexist, racist at work.
But
It's
it
not,
also
it's
like
not
wasn't
really gonna like be like, oh, I want to hang out.
right. But it also wasn't. I think it also was just like I wasn't I wasn't included. But also like I didn't want it. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't there long enough to be included. But like I formed like relationships. Like also like I mean I met Tristan like pretty early on, and like we kind of started dating pretty early on. So it's like that's who I hung out with. And then I kind of formed but I didn't like hang out with other people outside of work because like I didn't really have a reason to. Like I think there was one time there was like a party behind her house, and I went and like I met people, but I was like, I'm like okay, like I don't really like, and like I like hanging out with coworkers. I'm just like okay, like at Witness, like hell yeah, I did. Like I got like super drunk with them. I was not smart, but like I was like okay, but it's not more so like I'm just like like if I wouldn't hang out with you outside of work anyways, why am I gonna hang out with you outside of work? Because we work together. Like if we work together, that's all I need to. That's all I need to engage. Like if, but like I have like formed like friendships or whatever outside of work. Based on like people or if I felt like there was like a friendship, but I didn't want to like go out of my way to be like, oh, like let's be best friends. I was just like, okay, like we don't have anything in common. Like,
No, I'm with you.
yeah,
Like, I get
like
it.
just because we work together. But then there were some people where it was like, yeah, like I would hang out with you outside of work, or like like we do vibe. We can shit talk work, or we can like understand where we're coming from and like have a nice time, and then still go to work and be like, okay, let's just fucking do the thing. Mm-hmm. So it was like a mixture.
So,
yeah.
Have you did you like start cooking because it's just something you always did for work, and then you just went to culinary school because you've been cooking for a while?
No,
or it's just something you decided you wanted to do because you have passion for it and you actually want to cook?
I think it started as like it kind of just started like I just ran like I randomly started baking, and I don't like know what triggered that, but I like
okay. I understand what you're saying.
I think.
So did you end up deciding this is what you want to make your career because you're passionate about food and you really want to cook, or it's just something you got into as a work, as a job, and then decided, okay, why not go to culinary school because I've been doing this for a while?
No, I don't think it's that. I think I was interested in cooking, and the culinary school part of it was just like, it was more of like I just kind of took a chance, but like I knew, I kind of sensed that like I enjoyed cooking as a whole, like cooking at home.
Yeah.
And like I know it's different completely from culinary school. And so like
I mean the only difference is they teach you more technical terms and
right.
technique.
Right. And like I wasn't like I didn't know any of that. So like
shitload of home cooks that are way better than a lot of chefs out there.
Exactly. And like
so
but
there's really not that much difference.
Exactly. But I think it was just more of like I took a chance, and
some of my best chefs have never gone to culinary school.
No, for sure. And
they started as dishwashers, working themselves up, working their way up.
Exactly. Like I think culinary school
they
for
got
me
way further than a lot of chefs that have gone to culinary school.
No, definitely. And I totally respect people when I meet people from other culinary schools and they're like, "Oh, you went to the CIA?" And it's just like, "Yeah, I did." Then and I know that my experience there, I know, like looking back, I was like, yeah, I probably could have really taken advantage of like what they really had to offer and like what there was, but just my experience there, like it wasn't that, and like based on whatever it was, it's like okay, but I feel like after culinary, like before I went to culinary school, when I started just working, like I didn't really care where I worked. I just was like, I just want to do something. I was like, I'll work for, like I went to the local Italian spot that my grandpa liked, And I was just like, hey, like I'm going to culinary school in 6 months. Like I'll work, like just hire me. I'm like, I don't have to get paid. Like I just want to be there. And the thing was like, once I started like working in restaurants, I guess that's when it was just like exciting for me. Like cooking at home, I enjoyed, and culinary school was kind of like, it just kind of happened. Like my high school ex's girlfriend was like, I'm applying to Johnson and Wales, and I was just like, oh, like, well, like I didn't have a plan, and I was just like, well, like, oh, let me just apply for FSU, and like there was no like clear, like I knew I had an idea of like maybe what I wanted to do, but then with culinary, I was just like, well, like okay, like why not try? It was a free application, and I knew how to bake. I didn't know what it entailed, but then when like I got accepted, my parents, I didn't tell them I was doing it. I was like, oh, like why not? Like who?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. And so when I got accepted, they were like, oh, like is this something you want to do? And I was just like, oh, I don't know. And then they were like, well, like maybe if this is something you're interested in, like maybe let's like culinary is better because you have more of an open door of like if you know baking and you do culinary, like if you have both, then you kind of have. They just felt like it was maybe like a better route to go, and I was like, okay. And then I applied to a culinary school, and we went to like a thing, like the CIA, and they had like a presentation or something, and it all just was like really cool.
So you went to Hyde Park?
Yes, but like
Where were you? Like where'd you go from?
Orlando.
So you
Florida.
drove from Orlando?
No,
to
no, no.
Hyde
My
Park?
dad, we flew up, and I packed my little I set my little dorm up in New York Hyde Park, and he like set me free. And honestly, it's just like I was not ready for like being left alone, like being no one holding me accountable for like I was not I struggled as a student like in high school, like I just like school was just never my thing, but there were certain things that I really latched onto. But I'm a visual learner, so like the test portions of like school, like I didn't remember stuff, but I'm a visual learner, and I think that's also why cooking was like, aside from culinary school, I'd have to say like because they like show you once and they're like, oh, this is how you cut a potato, and it's like I've never cut a batten, like I've never cut a um a a medium diced potato before, like so it's like those skills that were a thing, other people excelled in because they were able to do it, and I was like totally like
You weren't able to do it?
like I struggled with it, like I think a part of it was like my vision, like like my depth perception, just like things, but also it's just not something that like I just didn't excel in, like I wasn't like, and
So you don't have great knife skills?
I do now because like of but like working 6 months in a salad shop where I'm not really practicing that, but also I didn't know what it was like I didn't know what the expectations of it was.
I see what you mean. Yeah, well, like
Right.
none of us are like great off the top.
Right, but then there were
Unless you've been doing it at home. Like there's
Exactly.
those super technical home cooks.
Right, but then there were like I went into a culinary school where someone I did not do well because I didn't know like what I'm like, oh, I've never done this before, like I don't know what I'm doing, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to know, and it's like I struggled, and like our practicals were like you would like pick out a random dish out of a hat, and you'd have 2 hours to cook it, and it was like super stressful because I'm like, oh, I have to prepare this for 2 people in 2 hours. But then like looking back, and I'm like, wow, I've literally like worked a line and I've like produced this many things in like an hour. But the comparison was just like the people who were able to do that, and like the students who excelled in that, it was just like they were like, I was just like, wow, like they're so great. But then I'm just like, wow, you put any of them on a line, they can't do it. Like I'm like, okay, like, or like like, okay, you have a station of one dish, and you have 5 people on the dish. Yeah, you're gonna be fine because all you have to do is cook like 2 potatoes per dish. but you throw that same person on a line that has to make like burgers, fries, and a sandwich. They would like they can't do it because I'm just like, and so I realized like after culinary school is when I really like honed in like my skills, and I feel like culinary school was just like kind of just like for me like it was just like a stepping stone of like I was able to add it to my resume, and it got me opportunities that like I wasn't ready for. Like I know like I should not have been a sous chef right out of school, but I was just like, you know what, like
You were?
I mean like yeah, but like a salad station, like the thing was like
You were a salad station sous chef?
yeah, but it was like
The fuck does that mean?
I don't even know. But what I'm trying to say, like, I pursued those higher positions not because of like my
What do
resume.
you mean you don't even know what the fuck a salad station sous chef
Like,
is?
I mean,
You're saying you were a sous
so
chef.
I would say,
and then you're saying,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
but
So my first job,
salad station.
so my first job out of culinary school was the salad station, but I was given like the option to be like, you want to learn, like, do you want to be on the hotline at the salad station? And I was just feeling like, oh, like I'm not ready for the hotline, like, so let me work the salad station. But then I was working the salad station, and I was just like, wow, this is a joke, like why, like what the heck? So then I pursued like positions where I could like learn more and take on that, even if like I wasn't ready. Like my first official sous chef job was a mess, and like I didn't know what I was doing, but I pursued a lot of roles where I knew I wasn't ready, but I wanted to challenge myself and be like, and I probably got a lot of them because of my culinary degree. But honestly, my culinary degree didn't do shit for me because it's just.
So are you saying you really didn't learn fuck all from CIA?
I think that like I think that there was a lot that I could have taken away from it, but I think my experience, I think from when I started to when like things really changed, like I was still like I was in college mode, like I was like free from my parents, like it was like fucking dudes, like I don't know, like I was 19, like I was in a different state, like yeah, like I didn't take it seriously. And then when like my accident happened, then I just went on like a complete like it was just like a complete like shift of like my mentality and barely making it. And then so like yeah, like I part of me is just like yeah, like I wish that I was able to gain the experience that maybe other people were able to do, and I probably could have done that. But also, like, I don't really regret, like, my experience there, because the fact that, like, it kind of got me weirdly in the door for the positions I wasn't ready for, I was able to just, like, feel like...
So what my question was is, are you saying you didn't really learn all that much from CIA?
I would say, like, I learned, like...
Like, to make a lot of dishes?
But a lot of the dishes, yeah, honestly, no. Like, a lot of the dishes, like...
So they didn't train you? Like... I hear great things about CIA. So, like,
I have to say,
they don't
like,
teach you how to make the dishes?
What they do is, like, they show you, they hit you, you're in a group full of 20 people. And they're like, this is how you make a consomme.
Yeah.
And then you're expected to make it.
Yeah, same here. They literally make it before us,
right, but
in front of us.
Right, but it's...
And you have all the mirrors and shit looking down.
Correct.
And you can see everything they're doing.
Completely.
And then you get to make it right after.
Right, but I think it's like if your only requirement is 6 months prior experience, and
I didn't have any experience when I went to culinary school. Nothing. Zero professional cooking experience. And I could say I learned a shitload of stuff in cooking school. And I didn't go to CIA. It was still top 10 French schools
I think
in the country,
like,
but
I feel like the things that I did learn, like I learned how to make food, but I wasn't really, I don't feel like I was like, I feel like since it was like 20 people at a time, like there was like,
my class was 30.
If they tasted your food, it was like, oh, this is too salty. And it's just like, well, like how, like if we're a training school, like, oh, it's too salty. You get a C. It's like, okay, but then like how do we like what are the things to fix the salt? Like what
You
is
add the less salt next
Yes.
time.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
how you fix that.
No, but there's like other taxes
You
like
keep
if
tasting your food.
no, but if
and
there's
then,
okay, but if
hey, it's good.
but hey,
Or
like
hey, this has
no,
too
no, no,
much
no, no, no.
salt
Because
now.
if something has too much salt and you're like, fuck, you can add other things to diminish that. Like,
You can
acid.
do very little, very, very little once you have a dish prepared and it's too salty.
right. But what I also have to say is the chefs that like, every chef would be different. So it's like if you're putting the salt and they're like, this is too salty for me. So it's a D. But then the next chef is like, oh, this is perfect salt. It's like very inconsistent. But then also when it comes to like the restaurant experience where you have 5 people on a line and we're given ultimate access to like, oh, you fucked up this potato. Oh, now you get this potato. It was a very much like, and I think this is a big reason of like a big separation of like the people who really like excelled in culinary school, but then they couldn't work in the industry. Like there was a very clear difference of like, I didn't excel in culinary school and I know that, but like once I got into the industry and I was just like, and like I figured out like I learned in that. And like I think culinary school just, it gave me the degree. Like and I'm saying for myself and like, and I'm not saying the CIA as a total, honestly, because like I know that there were some like I know some students like and I wish that like I wish I took more advantage of it. Like and a lot of it is on me. Like I wish that I took advantage of like what they had to offer. But also I don't regret my overall thing there because I it became like I became like wanting to like it became like a passion for me. I think once I started working in the industry and once I like got to like do different things and like tried a million different things. It was like go New York and then like work at a food truck and then randomly work in a diner one and then go to France and work like my entire career is like my actual resume is probably like 3 pages long, but I could condense it and like took out jobs that I had for like a month because I'm not gonna fucking put every job that I ever had because it would look like it would be a lot. Like one year I had like 4, 5 W-2s and I was like, damn. But also like I don't regret that at all because I've worked with people who have like worked for the same company for 40 years and like I respect that, but also I'm just like I want to try new things. I want to learn everything. I want to do everything so then I can figure out what I actually want to do and what I don't want to do. Like at one point I think it was like, oh, like a food truck could be cool. But I'm like, well, I've never worked on a food truck. So there was a random opportunity to do it and I was like, you know what, fuck it. Like, what am I doing? Let me go work on a food truck. And I was like, oh, like maybe this isn't something I want to open up. So like I did like random like I took my career and like but then some of the jobs I enjoyed and like I wanted to stay at, but then once I felt at a point where I was just like, okay, like I'm here and like there's no room for advancement, not because like there's no opportunity, but like there's a stone wall and I'm like I've done everything I can here and like I feel good about what I've done here.
No,
and
no,
so,
no. Now I understand because like I've never really been much for like being able to learn in classrooms. Most of my school life, unless it was super interesting to me, like
right.
math.
Yeah, I mean I sucked at math, but culinary math
certain
makes sense
certain things
right.
I could catch on real quick. The things
right.
that I had interest in, but
right.
I didn't really have interest in most of the stuff like English.
Exactly.
And math. And from what you're saying is you weren't quite ready to go to culinary school when,
no, I wasn't.
When you went.
Exactly, I was not.
And once you were ready, once it did become a passion, you were able to pick it up just like I did. Because, like I said, I've never been great at school and taking exams and tests because I've always been a visual and hands-on learner also. Right. Until I went to culinary school. But because I was already ready for it.
Right.
I always had a passion for it. I always love food. Like cooking at home.
Yeah.
Even just the most basic fucking packet ramen noodles, I would fucking hook it up with fucking some chili flakes, some fucking eggs in there. But when I went to culinary school, because I had this love and passion, it was like I almost didn't even have to pay attention, which is, I mean, obviously that's not true, but like,
right.
because I already had this love and I always wanted to do it, I was so ready for it. I just absorbed everything. I was so excited for the classroom portion, and then to like jump in there, run into the kitchen right afterwards, and try to nail that shit just like they made it. It was so exciting for me, but when you're not ready, I mean, it's not gonna be the same.
Right,
like,
and I wasn't ready, and like, but once I graduated and I got into the world and I experienced the industry, and I learned what that felt like, and like I figured out what it was, and like the immense opportunities that there were. I was just like, oh, like the real world, you're not gonna have an ultimate access to 100,000 potatoes if you mess something up. You have to figure out like, hey, like if I mess this up, like how do I fix it? And like I think that was a lot more like exciting to me, being like, oh, like, oh, I just ran out of this. Like, how do I fix it? Where instead of having like an unlimited access. And so I think like, yeah, I wasn't ready for culinary school, but also I'm like, had I done what I've done now and then went to culinary school, yeah, I would have crushed it. Honestly, I would be ready. I would fucking crush it. I would get 100% A. But I think that I'm okay with like the way it happened, because I found
I mean, we all have our
right,
journey,
like
so
I found my love. Like culinary school was like, it was what it was for me, and it was like it was like it was a step to get into the door, honestly. And like I wish, I could have gotten more from it, but I'm also like, I don't regret it, and like life happened, like, and it was what it was. But I also,
especially when you went, like,
right, and
obviously,
like, and I could have taken that and after culinary school been like,
but it happened the way it happened, like,
right,
you still
exactly. And so like after I decided to still like, I feel like after, like, if something like that happened, I could have been like, oh, well, like F culinary school, like F cooking, like, I don't want to do this anymore. But I, for some reason, was just like, no, like I feel like I had like a and I don't know if it was like because of like her, or like I owed something to her, or like something. But in my head, I was just like, I'm like, I need to like see where this is, like why, like what this means. And then from then on, like I just continued loving it, and like that's where I began to fall in love with. Like I didn't fall in love with it in culinary school. I fell in love with it after moving, like taking random internships, like being able to just choose what I wanted to do, and if I wasn't happy, like doing something else, and being able to work with different people and do different stuff and figure out what I didn't want to do, and then being in the restaurants that I really did enjoy, but then moving on when I was like, yeah, like I want to move on, like it's okay. And then putting myself in uncomfortable situations where I have to run the kitchen, but also I wanted to like foster, the environment. I wanted to create environments where I felt like I was, like leadership.
being challenged.
Yeah, and also just like I really valued the chefs that, were okay answering questions, like willing to like,
yeah, I mean, that's how it
like
always
teach
should
you.
be, like,
and I really valued like the ones where I could be like, hey, like go up to like at Rock Creek, like Joey. Like I never felt like I could approach Steven because he was like very pretentious. But like Joey, he would be cutting chicken, like fish, and it was like really easy to be like, hey, like what are you cooking? Like what you doing? And it would just be like I just was interested, and like
yeah, but you can't let it intimidate you from asking questions.
No, and I completely agree. But I also just felt like
if you ask Steven a question, I asked him plenty of questions. He's happy to answer.
Yes, I agree with you on that, but
you can't
I think
psych yourself out just because you're.
No, I agree with you, and like maybe I could have approached him, but also I think just like the way that he presented himself as like like a leader, I didn't feel like I felt like he was only accessible. Like he only wanted to like talk to the do that for people that like he wanted to, and that's a me thing. Like I could have, but there were like like I liked like with in the Four Seasons like Chef Raleigh, like he was kind of an asshole a little bit, like he did his thing, but if you wanted to learn something from him, if like you had questions, he would teach, like he would take the opportunity to like share with you, and I valued that, and it kind of like over like I guess like the past year or so, I was just like like I like that is how like continuously like being able to approach the people, like approach my chefs and like not be intimidated, like not be like, oh, just because you have like 10 more years of experience with me, like you're worth more, like I'm not worthy of like talking to you or like getting to know what you're doing. And so I think like all the times that I have felt like really just like confident and like comfortable like approaching them and being like and I say approaching them being like getting the like vibe and just like overall like thing that they want to foster, create like in curiosity, like they welcome that, like like okay, so like in the at what's it called, Rock Creek, like there was someone like what's his name, James. So like if James wanted to go ask a question to Steven, he would completely be open and talk to him. But if Paul, who was like that little salad guy, who like wasn't great, but like he showed up every day and he tried and like he cared, but he was not given the same level of like, if he wanted to go ask a question to genuinely learn something, he would not be treated the same as like James. So and I make that separation of just like, I would much rather take the time to teach and foster Paul, who genuinely has a love and a passion and is willing to show up on his days and like make his life revolve around this, than someone like, and I didn't really know James, like I'm sure he's a great guy, like, and he's skilled for sure, and like he was a really nice guy, like I know, but it's like if you have someone,
he has a love and passion for it too,
right? But like if you have someone who is wanting to learn more, who doesn't know a lot, like, and he knows that he doesn't know a lot, but he feels like he has a leader who does know a lot, but you're not willing to foster that.
Well, here's the thing in that situation, okay?
Yeah.
That's fine, as long as once you start explaining and teach the guy something, they retain the information, rather than you show them the same thing 3-4 fucking times and they're still not picking it up.
Yes.
You're not gonna be very like conducive to just wanting to take them under your wing and train and teach someone that's just not getting it.
I understand that, and like I do, because but I have to say that if you're a people leader and like you're a chef, your job is not to just fucking cook and produce food. Your job is to lead these people, and there's three.
Well, what I'm saying is there's been certain people that I've tried to teach.
Right, and sometimes it just doesn't work. But have you tried? You can
be the friendliest,
but you don't have to be the friendliest.
And most like best like I'm not a bad teacher. I would like to think that I can, I love teaching.
Right, but are you teaching
whoever wants to learn?
But are you teaching them on a level that they can understand?
The person that I'm teaching and I'm showing it like baby steps, like you're a fucking dumb fuck idiot, you were just born yesterday.
Right.
And I'm teaching them every single step and they're not picking it up, and I'm showing them 5 times, that shit gets annoying. And
I understand that. Yeah.
You in the end tend to not want to teach that person, and then
I understand that.
That's why Paul didn't end up staying at Rock Creek. You do understand.
I have to understand that, yes, and I do, and I do.
Then what are you saying?
What I'm saying is like he like the way that people learn like is different. Like
I know that.
But if you as a chef,
you can show the person.
But you can show the person
in the way that they understand it. And
I don't
still
think
not getting it.
No, but how did...
It's not...
No, because if you don't really truly understand how they get it, because
2
what
plus
if...
2 does not equal chair.
No, because like you were saying, like you were not, like you're a visual learner. So it's just like, well, what if like...
I understand that.
Like, I'm not saying you have to accommodate everyone's like learning methods, but I was like, and like...
You're saying you understand that, but I don't think you do.
No, but I am saying that...
I'm telling you, like, I've taught certain people exactly the way they understand, but their memory or whatever it is just sucks, and they just don't retain the information.
Okay. I hear you.
You get that? Like,
yes, but I have to say that, like,
all right.
I have to say that when
Well, you're saying you understand, but from what you're continuing to say, it doesn't sound like you understand.
Because honestly, like,
Or like you just want to argue the fact.
Okay. What I'm saying is that with Paul specifically, and I'm saying his example, like I'm saying his name because he was like really like probably the one that like
I love
like,
Paul. He was a great kid.
Right, but it was like
But it worked enough with him to see that he just was not getting it.
Right, but he was because like in
but he
certain
wasn't.
Ways, but he wasn't. But in like little ways that I noticed when like I would like be like, yo, like what the fuck is this? Like fucking like and in general like I did culinary like I
Either sit or
yes,
do
yes,
whatever
yes,
you're doing, please.
Okay.
This is not like
okay.
we're not playing around.
Okay. Okay. What I'm saying is like with teaching
Whoa,
overall.
whoa. Bring that over here, please.
Okay. What I'm saying is like what
Keep open bottles and shit away from that area.
What I realized about
please
like teaching and aside from Paul, like I'm not gonna get back into that. But what I realized that I enjoy about teaching people and like that kind of thing.
I do too.
Is like not everyone learns the same way as me. So like I have to learn how to accommodate.
I get it.
I have to learn how to accommodate that. And even if they're not getting
There's been plenty of people I've taught, and I've taught them in the simplest ways.
Right.
And the way that I've seen that they can learn.
And like
most people have picked it up.
Right.
But what I'm saying is there's people out there that it just does not click.
It doesn't compute. I understand.
It does not. No matter how many times, how many different ways you try to show them, they just don't get it. So I'm not saying that, most people can't be taught. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying
not everyone.
There's people out there that just don't get it.
Okay, you are right.
And you seem to want to argue that fact.
I do, but I think that's... I do, but I say that I'm understanding, but then I'm arguing the fact, but I do understand, like, that point that you're making, because, yeah, like there are, like, people... I don't know what the lid is. Sorry.
Well, you just took it off.
I know that. I'll find it. Okay, anyways. What the point of making is just, like, I realized, like, as being, like an executive chef or, like, a sous chef, like, I wanted, like, more... I wanted to, like, I wanted to, like, provide people of, like, well, like, like, I wish, like, I was able to, like, have more of, like, in my career, but then also when I was able to get it, it really fostered a lot of, like, growth and, like if you want to learn and, like, you are curious, like, foster that. And so, like, yeah. And
okay, let's go here. Let's
yeah.
Like, who would you say that you have learned the most from? We've all had our, like, teachers that, like, you pick up the most from. So who was your person that kind of, like...
So I think there's two.
set your foundation and what you got the most from?
So I think there's two, and so one of them was in culinary school, and she was my like Asia's person.
Wasn't?
She was.
Was.
She was my Asia's. She was like Asia's professor, and like she was like the first professor. Like she set an expectation for us, like to do something before class started, like an assignment or like do something, and the people that didn't do it got kicked out, and I was one of them. And
you got kicked out?
Yeah, like for the day to like go do the assignment. And she was really like the first professor where she put me through hell, but it was my own fault. Like it was like the first time I guess I felt like it was like, wow, like not given like, like the benefit of the doubt or something like that. And I have to say, like, I was like, what the heck? Like, what I'm saying is, like, she put me, like, I went through hell with her because I wasn't doing what was expected of me. And she was, holding up her thing. Like, if you're not going to do this assignment, you're going to be kicked out for the day. And it's like, she held her ground. And for some reason, like, it just, like, clicked in me of just, like, she held me, like, we didn't have to hold ourselves accountable. She held herself accountable, like, by kicking us out and making us miss a day and doing the assignment. And then, or like, if one day, I think there was, like, a dish going on, like, we were doing a dish and, like, there was, like, a portion of it that, like, I guess, like, our group wasn't able to finish, like, maybe I wasn't able to. And I was like explaining to her like why it wasn't finished, and she was just like, like, I don't want to hear, like, no, like, I don't want to hear excuses. Like, you were given this expectation.
Yeah.
And like, and yeah, exactly. But it kind of was just like and like, I think it took me a while to like fully get to a point. Like it hit me then, but then like, as I continued on my career, like I, was like still working on it, but it was just very like eye-opening of like, yeah, like, wow, like you held me accountable and you made me work for this shit. And you made like, and I say made me work for this shit of just like, I passed that class because she fucking, like, she held me accountable for the shit that I was fucking up. And she didn't let me just like, she didn't give me the benefit of the doubt because I couldn't do my shit. And it just like, and by the time the class was done, I had like a cold sore, and like, which is like just a stupid thing, like if I'm stressed out or whatever. But like, I was just like, oh my God, I fucking finished this class. Like, it's over. And I was just like,
where the fuck did cold sore come from?
No, I don't. And I
what the fuck does that
okay,
have
no,
to
I
do
say that.
with anything?
No. I say that because it's like, and I say a cold sore specifically
what
because
the fuck,
no. It's like, it reactivates in like your body if you have the virus or whatever under stress and like under like extreme stress, like,
I see.
Things. So it's like, I don't normally get them, but like in that class I got one because I was stressed. Like she was holding the class and the students up to a standard that we weren't used to, and I wasn't used to, and she wasn't backing down. She wasn't taking excuses. And it was just like, by the time that I finished the class and I passed, I was just like, wow, like I feel like I went through hell, but it was my fault. Like, I could have avoided all this. And so I think that it was like I think maybe like a few, like, I realized it then, but then like maybe, I think as my career advanced, like I still had to like learn to like, like if I didn't get it done, like don't be like, oh, because of this. It's just like, hey, like, this is a fact, and like, this is why, like, not be like, change it from like, oh, I didn't have enough time. It's just like, hey, this happened, and this is why it didn't get done. And so it was like a change of mentality, I guess, and like not making like an excuse.
That's still excuses.
Okay, well, I don't view it that way, because if you have valid like reasons of like, and you have like, something changed, and like you're like, hey, like this changed, like this is why I didn't get it. Or like, hey, like listen, like I forgot about this or I fucked up, so that's why it didn't get done. Like more so being directive, like, hey, I fucked up, you know, and that's why it didn't happen. And
So
then
you're saying
taking responsibility
for your excuses.
for excuses. Yeah, like no, taking responsibility for your actions instead of being like, oh, I didn't have enough time. It's like, no, I ran out of time, so I couldn't get this done. You know, like being like, hey,
saying the same thing. I didn't have enough time. I ran out of time.
No. It's not saying I didn't have enough time. It's just like
You just literally said
no,
I ran out of time.
Meaning like I didn't use my time wisely, so I fucking fucked up. I ran out of time because of that.
Okay.
So it's like holding myself, being like, hey, like I'm the reason I fucked up, and this is why I fucked up because I ran out of time, not because I wasn't given enough time. It's like I ran out, like
So just time management.
Or just like, you know, whatever else the reason was, just like, hey, like I fucked this order up, so that's why I didn't get it done. Or like I forgot to order this shit, and that's why we don't have it. Or like instead of being like, oh, I forgot to place the order, which maybe was the like maybe was it like maybe I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I did forget, but it's just like no, like I fucked up, like I didn't place the order, and they don't want to know why. It's just like, and so I think it took me a bit of time
that's
to
why
like.
you keep order guides. Go
Okay.
through them every day, so you don't miss that shit.
Yeah, thank you, chef. But it was the point of it is like owning up to like if you fucked up, like I'm gonna still tell you like I'm gonna still tell you why I fucked up, and my reason is like the reason why I fucked up is because of this. It's not an excuse. It's like, hey, like this is why I fucked up, and because I wasn't prepared. I didn't prepare myself. You know, those kind of things instead of being like projecting as like I didn't have enough time or oh like I wasn't provided this. You know, that kind of thing. Like switching that mentality. And I think it's like it took me a while to like really like get to the point where it could be like, hey chef, like I fucking forgot this shit. Like I'm sorry. You know, like I fucking fucked up. Like I'm sorry. Like how can I fix it? Or like this is like I figured out like, hey, I fucked up here, but like I think I can make it work here. And like coming up with the solutions, just like instead of just being like, oh, like I fucked up. Oh well, you know. So that was just like a portion of it. Like I think like it didn't click until later, but I was like, wow, fucking nice. And then the other one, I guess I'd have to say was like when I left New York to just go work at this random fucking diner in Alabama.
Diner, huh?
Yeah, because why not? Like,
is it like a nice diner?
It was like a 50s diner, and
but like nice diner, like they do shit from scratch.
I mean, no, but it was like a turn and burn diner. But like we did do stuff from scratch. But the experience that I got from it was like volume and also like taking like power over like not so much power, but like if like owning control of like the board and like the time management and like getting the shit
taking
out.
ownership.
Exactly. And I had like I didn't want to be in the diner originally. Like I think I applied for something else because I was like, oh, I want to do the nicer stuff. And it was just to fucking get out of New York because I don't want to be with my ex. But I was like, oh, like you should come.
When did you end up in New York?
Because of school.
Yeah, okay.
But then, like, I moved in with my ex, and, like, it turned into a thing. Yeah. And then when COVID happened, I was working in, like, a German restaurant. We're, like, doing to-goes, and I'm like...
German restaurant?
Yeah, it was a bunch of bullshit.
Schnitzel and Spatzel?
Yes, but we were doing to-goes, and so it was crazy. But I'm like, cool, like, I'm like, wow, I have to work 60 hours a week while this, like, everyone else gets to make $600 a month and fucking not do shit. Because we were such a worker. And like aside from that, like my ex couldn't drive. Like it was just a bunch of stuff. And I was just like, let's go to like started looking on Indeed. I don't know why.
Damn, a lot of your boyfriends can't drive. What's going on?
He got a DUI. I know. Tristan could drive though, but damn. I know. That's why I was like my next boyfriend. He fucking better be able to drive and he better fucking be able to cook. Like that is gonna be written in, like I'm gonna print out a list. Requirement list. Yes, drive and cook, and everything else is like an extra. But it's like cook for me.
But
like,
then they're not gonna do certain other things, and you're gonna be like, okay.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just, I'm just like fuck. I'm just like, I just would like, I would love for you to just like fucking drive. Because like, I'd like to drive, but like, I don't want to fucking drive. And like, I would love to wake up to a basic ass bullshit
No,
breakfast.
it's nice when neither one of you can drive. Although, I always drive.
Right, but it's like if your partner, like, it's not so much like.
It's
like,
nice that they should be capable of.
right.
And I don't want to say always. Like,
And
there's
I'm not
been
saying-
certain times where I couldn't drive.
Right, and I completely understand, like, with, like, Andy, like, that was his own fucking fault. And, like, with Jesse, like, yeah, he can't drive, like, he's fucking blind.
No, that's valid.
But it was just, it
tracks.
completely, but it just added another, responsibility, or, like, it added another role in our relationship that, like, you know, like,
But
but
I don't
on
wanna-
top,
I don't
okay,
wanna-
yeah, anyways. So what
I
I'm
don't want
saying,
to go there.
no. So, but anyways, what I'm saying is, yeah, so like, I just wanted to leave New York. I was fucking tired of it. I was like, we're not doing shit here. Like, your job sucks. Like, let's fucking go. And he was like, no. And I was like, you know what? And I was already just done with it. But I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna go because I want to enjoy my fucking summer during COVID.
Yeah.
So I applied to whatever. I got it. And like, I dumped him later, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt because I'm like, I'm not gonna just dump you and leave. And he was a shithole, but whatever. And he went crazy when I moved to Alabama.
I mean, Florida didn't really observe.
No. They
rules
didn't. No,
of
they
COVID.
didn't, and it was
It
awesome.
was like another planet. Like,
No, I'm not saying that was a
COVID
shithole.
was not happening in
No,
Florida.
it wasn't in Alabama. I remember in like the Dollar General, like we'd be working in the place. We were right on the coast, and we didn't do shit. But what I'm saying is like, I was just like, I just want to have a fucking fun summer, and he went emotionally like he just went like crazy when I left, and like super, and I was just like, dude, like, fuck off, like we're like, anyways, and so
the diner chef taught you a lot.
and so like I ended up in the diner, and it was a female manager, and she just like,
So it was the manager.
yeah, and she was like the person who like kind of like ran the kitchen. And
Okay, so like kitchen manager.
yeah, so the kitchen manager, like she ran the line, but like what would happen? So like I was placed in the expo line, and like I've never really done expo before, especially in that thing. But she was just like, it was just like, here, like do it, like go for it. But I'm not a loud person. Like I don't really hold a room. Like I'm, you know, and I know that about myself. Like, but when we would be like really slow, she would come in. And she would fucking do this shit and it would get done. And I was just like, damn, like, it just, like, she can't, like, not in, like, a disrespectful way. She would make it happen. And it just, like, kind of was, like, really, I guess, like, empowering to see. And just, like, you know, like, I'm like, I was, like, they want me to do this role. I don't know why. But I'm like, okay, like, I want to be able to, like, be, like, you know, kind of emulate someone like that, like be confident and be like, come in and, you know, fucking demand it and like get the shit done. And so then like she got fired, like something happened and like she left, and we got a traveling chef company that came in, and I really, really liked everyone that I worked with because they kind of realized that everyone that was on the line was kind of like half-assed, and they were really like kind of like realizing that like I was like into it, and like, and I wanted to make it work, and like I had an interest in like, you know, the overall like, you know, industry of it, and everyone else was like just there to make money. And so, you know, like kind of just like I was able to kind of foster like, you know, and build like, you know, like the confidence and like, you know, have, you know, employee, you know, people that were working for the company to make it better, like the support of like, you know, like being encouraged, you know, like fucking own it and like you know, like command it, and you know, like use my voice and like fucking do the thing. And so like it really like it was empowering, and it was just like yeah, I can fucking do this. And then when they left, like then it just became kind of like a shit show because new people came in and they were like,
you gotta try to keep the mic in front of you.
A new management came in and they kind of like pushed out the chef company, traveling company.
Yeah.
And I thought they were great. Like one of the chefs, his nickname.
Yeah, but that's like more of a
Right.
temporary fix.
Exactly. But I I think like with their group, like one of the chefs, he called me Little B. That was like my nickname.
Yeah, that
Like-
seems like the
Yeah.
traveling chef company had their
Yeah.
shit together. Yeah,
Right, they had their shit together, and I really like
it's a good company.
and that was like I really valued like how like what they did and like not even just for the company, but like what they did for me personally. Not even that they did it for me, but I was able to absorb and like
Yeah, what you got from it?
right and like and I got a lot from it, and I was just like wow, like that was really like I'm like wow, like okay, I can do this. Like I don't need to have 30 years experience to show that like I can command a kitchen, or like I can and like I don't need to scream and be an asshole, because that's not who I am.
Right.
So then like once it changed, things kind of shifted and like whatever, and I realized I was like okay, like this is not where I need, like this is not where I'm meant to be. Like I did my like I completed my journey here, and so like I went home or whatever, then New York, Jersey, what do you call it, New Four Seasons, that happened, and I was like whatever. And then when I went to France, it was also like another confirmation of just like, okay, if I can come into a random country and a random kitchen I've never been into and random people I've never met who don't have any experience, and we're able to pull a successful dinner shift off and make it like be like no problems, and like we can, like this can happen, then I know, and it just made me feel like okay, like I'm like, it just kind of confirmed myself like okay, like I can do it, like I don't, like I've proved to myself, and like like okay, like I have the ability, and like it shows. And so it just like those types of experiences where I've been able to just like be empowered, but also like here you go, and then be like, oh, like yeah, like I don't have to have 40 years of experience to be a chef. Like I don't have to have 50 years to be an executive chef. I was like, okay, like I could be 27 and be an executive chef. And like it's not so much the title, but it's like, I mean, like, but it's also just like if you're gonna be like, and I say the age in terms of like more so like the experiences. Like I have like officially like in I guess like June, I had like 10 years of culinary experience, like chef experience. But it's like through those 10 years, I've done a lot, and like I'm like
Chef experience or cook experience?
I would say like cook, like from like line cook from like 2025, like June, I'd say. I think I got my first job in like June. It was like a fucking solid cook. So like now it's like, until June, it's just like I've worked in random states doing random things.
So where have you had like a job that you held for a while, or it's just always been jumping around?
No, I would say that so when I moved to Seattle, so New York, I had like my resume is very shortened to the fact that like New York was like a lot. And I think that's just like was the beginning of my career, and like I also like burned a lot of bridges because like I was also like 20, so it's just like I didn't, I wasn't handling.
I don't know. You gotta explain.
I was like I wasn't taking like the career part of it seriously, I guess. But oh, like this is actually gonna affect me. But so, like I had like a million.
I've done shit like that
right, so, like,
along the way.
I had a
and,
million.
Like, made stupid mistakes.
Right, like I had a million jobs in New York, like a month, whatever bullshit. But the ones like the Red Onion, I had for like 8 months, and I would say that like that job ended very like I felt like I proved, I was consistent in that job of like how I showed up and like how like what I did for it. And then when I felt like I needed to do something else, to try something else, I did. And then like I chose to end it because of stupid boys, like, but it like that job was like really meaningful to me because it kind of like the way that the right restaurant was dynamic, like the way the dynamic.
So have you like started messing around with coworkers in like most of your jobs, or just like ended up that way or whatever?
What do you mean messed around?
Messing around, like started having sex, started seeing
Oh
each
no
other.
no. Like I would say like, hang on, I don't know where that came from, but I never like.
Because you left most jobs, you said because of boys.
Oh
because
no.
of stupid
Oh no.
boys.
I would say because like I decided to go to Boston for an internship because it was America's Hell's Kitchen, and like there was.
Well, look, can we go back to the question where I'm asking you like?
Oh no. I've never.
Have you held?
No.
Have like what jobs have you held the longest?
Oh yes, I have.
Have
And
you always?
I
Have you
would
always
say.
jumped around, or
I
have
would
you
say that.
held certain jobs
I would say that Seattle.
for a couple of years.
I would say Seattle was when I moved to Seattle, and when I started Violet. That's when I was like, I kind of started wanting like longer tenure, and like Rock Creek, I held a year at like Rock and Flint. Like I held a year there, and I was just like, and that was a goal that I wanted to set for myself because I'm like, I wanted to be like, okay, like I want to do this for a year because on a lot of my other jobs, like I almost hit a year. It was like 10 or 11 or like 8 or 9, but a lot of it wasn't really like, and I just quit because to quit. It's like with Red Onion in New York, that was like 8 months, but I went to do an internship in Boston because it was America's Test Kitchen, and it was just like I just felt like I needed a change and I wanted to try something new, and it was an opportunity. But when I say like when I mess with boys, it's because I was dating Andy, and I ended that early because for some fucking reason.
Was Andy a coworker?
No, he was a boyfriend, like not a coworker at all.
So outside of work.
Yes. So I was dating him, and I went to New York. I went to Boston to do my internship, and honestly, I really regret not finishing it because that was like a really great experience, and like I loved the roommate I lived with. And so what I'm saying is like I ended that job to go take a sous chef job in New York. That was fucking bullshit, and then it turned into the German restaurant, and then COVID happened, and then I moved to Alabama. But the jobs since I have to say that the jobs since New York that were short term were planned short term, not on my end. It was like like the internship was a short term thing, but like I was stupid and fucked that up and like didn't stay the long term, and I should have. Alabama was a season. Like that was a season.
Okay, let me ask you this way. What job have you held the longest as a cook?
As a cook, I would probably say Rock Creek and Flint Creek.
Okay, I got you.
Because it was a year.
Yeah.
But
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, in my opinion, as long as you're learning from every place, yeah, people like hold it in really high regard, and which there is something too. Like, they got to be able to depend on you if you're like applying for a chef job. It doesn't look great if you like.
I totally understand.
Like, that's coming from experience. Like, there's been a time, like not until very recently have I started taking shit way more seriously than I was.
Yes, exactly.
But I've held jobs for like 2.5, 3.5,
Yeah.
But like we all have a different journey, so it really.
But I also
But at a certain time you have to like settle down and
I think that's
start having
right.
a long stay, so that when you do end up applying for a chef job, you can show that, listen, I was here for however many years, so that they can depend on you, and they're not like, oh, well,
you only have like a
this
job
person has only had jobs for 6 months, 8 months,
right,
and the longest job they held was for a year. They're not going to be very inclined to hire you as a chef that shows that you can't stick around at a place.
No, I totally understand. And
I've learned that from experience, but I've also known it. I just, I was fucking around for a long time.
yeah, and like I think like when in my like on my resume, like I think I like like I had a lot of like a few jobs where like it was kind of like just line cook, but when I started applying for like roles that were a bit more like, you know, like not even like sous chef, but just more like, and I was so much executive chef, just more like a higher role. I was like, okay, like let me hire like the roles where this actually pertains to it. And then, but then in other roles where I had everything, I was just like, I was very transparent of just like, I'm just like, you know, but also I think in my, and I have to say that in my personal experience, I the random assortment, I guess, of like different things that I've done has been, and I'm saying in my experience has been more like it feels like it's been like more valued than um just like one place have like 4 different jobs. And I say that because I have like, you know, I have like, you know, I have like Alabama as like, you know, like a key role of like, you know, like this, I did hold this position and this is what I learned from it. And like, this is the role I had and this is what I did. And then France, I have that because that was a significant role in, you know, yeah, it did not last long. I totally agree with you. But like sometimes like what it did do was like it, like I like just because it was maybe 3 months doesn't mean like those 3 months didn't encompass like, you know, an incredible, you know, all these things. So like I was very transparent. I'm just like, you know, I know like I know like I'm like I've moved around. Like I completely know that like, you know, I like my resume is like Florida, Alabama, Wyoming, France, Seattle, like New York, like that's so fucking random. Like there's no like, you know, no like clear path. And it's just like all I can say is just like, you know what, like I'm like for me, I'm just like I'm okay changing my life. Like I'm okay making, like I'm okay, like I am comfortable completely like moving and like changing.
Yeah, I get it.
Like
it's fun.
And but
and it's an experience.
But I'm not saying it's fun. I'm just saying like
I'm saying it's fun.
Like I mean, like yeah, like it was
for me.
It was fun, but it's just like also like it's not to show like employees like, you know, like, you know, I just left and, you know, like, but also if there were situations was like, yeah, like, you know, in this situation, like, you know, like it lasted this long because I'm like, you know, this is kind of what was going on and like, you know, and that's why I moved to Seattle. But I'm like, but
okay, that's
you know,
fine.
so a lot of it, you know, for me in my experience, like I've been very transparent of like, hey, like I know my resume is like random. It's super fucking random.
So do you cook? Do you cook at home?
I do, and I feel like honestly, like over the last year when I was
What do you cook? Like, what's your favorite stuff to cook?
Oh, honestly, it varies because last summer I got really into like breakfast sandwiches, or just like, and I don't really like making breakfast. Like I don't like making breakfast sandwiches, but I got really into just like trying different things on my own.
For me it varies too, but I have things that I love to cook, and it's my favorite shit to cook, and I've been cooking for a really long time. You got stuff like that?
I don't think I have to say that
You don't have any favorite thing to make or eat?
I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I really enjoy like the process of like okay, I was like making an egg sandwich one time and I didn't have bread. And I was like, damn, like I need bread. I was like looking in my kitchen and I was like, oh, I have an everything rice roll, a rice cake. And I was just like, huh, like this is random. But then I was like,
okay,
oh, like
that's not here or there.
No,
I'm asking whether you have a favorite thing to make.
I don't think I do because it's like
that doesn't have to be a reason behind it.
No, I like
you just either do or you don't.
No, but and I'm saying I don't have like a specific thing like I'm saying is like when I am making something and I randomly decide to like add
you like
bullshit to it.
I get it.
Or like that, then it becomes the process of like figuring out how to make it work. Or like, hey, does like okay, I made pancakes the other day and I don't really care about I don't really like eating pancakes, but I was making it and I was
all these things that you're saying you don't really like to make. So
No, but I
Is
enjoy.
there anything that you do like to make?
No, I do like to make the things. Like, I like making scallops.
You
Like,
just literally said you don't like to make pancakes.
I don't like to make pancakes, but
And
when,
you said you don't really like breakfast stuff, but
No.
you got into breakfast sandwiches.
because I enjoyed like figuring out ways that were like interesting and ways that were like weird and like different. Like, oh, like I'm not like, yeah, like I wouldn't typically normally make just random breakfast sandwiches. But once I kind of was like, oh, let me play around with like the breakfast sandwich as a whole, not like a bacon, egg, and cheese, but like putting it on a egg, everything roll with aioli and like a basil, and I ate it. And I was like, wow, this is really good. And it's those things. It's just like, yeah, like
you like to improvise.
it's like I like to think. I like to begin the process and then in the moment be like, oh, like what if I did this?
Along
Like,
the way, improvise.
right.
Yeah.
And so yes, but like with the pancakes, like in itself making the pancakes is not like it's not exciting to me, like pouring it out on the thing. But the thing that is exciting to me was like I was like, wow, like I'm making chocolate chip pancakes. And I was like, wait, I have chocolate milk. And I was like, what if I added chocolate milk to the pancakes instead of regular milk? And it's those kind of like thought processes that then I'm like, oh, like this is super cool. Like, let me see if it works. And like, this is exciting to me now. It's not so much like I'm like, oh, let me make chocolate chip pancakes with milk. It's like, oh,
I
like,
don't know. I just find it really weird that you're a cook and you don't have no favorite food to eat or make.
I don't feel like that's fair because
That's fair. I
don't
find it weird.
I don't
that
think
you
it's
don't
weird.
have a favorite
I don't
food
think
to make
I don't
or
think
eat.
it's weird at all because like okay,
How is
like
that not fair?
if I say favorite, it's like yeah, like I like making fish because I like that. I enjoy its searing process. Like I like making scallops because it's satisfying when it turns around. But it's like, is it my favorite thing to make? Like honestly, like making.
I said or eat.
But eat like I like eating everything.
You like eating everything.
I ate.
You don't like eating Calabrian chilies on pizza.
I ate
so you
pigeon.
don't like eating
I
everything.
ate pigeon in Denmark, and
Wow.
it was actually pretty cool. I thought it was like chicken, but also it looked like duck.
It's called squat.
No, it was a pigeon.
It's called squat.
No. You go to Denmark and you order a pigeon, you're gonna get a pigeon. It was a pigeon, and I was just like, I was like,
called
no,
squat.
I don't want to hear. No. Like, what's your favorite thing to make? Like, I feel like people.
I love making curries. I love making biryani.
But why? But why? But why? But
Because I
why?
love to eat it.
But
Tastes good.
But that doesn't mean anything because if you love to
It
make
means
it,
everything.
I don't think so because.
You don't think that
No.
love to making what you love to eat
But
means
why?
anything?
No. But like.
What the fuck are you saying,
But
dude?
why? But what about biryani that you enjoy making?
The flavor.
The flavor-
that develops.
Right, but what I'm saying is like.
What the fuck?
No,
do you
no,
mean
no,
it
no.
doesn't mean anything.
No,
This
and
is the most retarded
No,
thing
it's
to
not
say.
the most retarded thing because I feel like
It is the most
no,
retarded thing.
no, because
yes,
no, because if you're if people
Absolutely.
no,
Yes.
because the flavor builds like
That's the most fucking
no, it's not retarded.
ridiculous
It's
thing
not
I've
ridiculous
ever heard.
because I feel like it's a lot more
It doesn't
like
mean anything.
no, okay, whatever.
Making good, flavorful food doesn't mean anything.
No, but you
What
enjoy.
what
No.
are you saying?
You enjoy making it because it's flavorful, but like, what about the flavors that make it enjoyable for you? The adding this and like doing this and doing this. Like, what about it is enjoyable to you?
Everything.
No, but that's not an answer.
It is an answer. I love it from start to finish. I love searing. I love developing the flavors, layering everything. Yeah.
Right, but you can't
You
pinpoint
keep
like
shaking your head
you
like a retard.
you can't pinpoint specifics in the dish that excite you the most. Where I can be like, yeah, I don't like making pancakes, but when it comes,
I can't pinpoint specific. I literally just pinpointed
no,
everything.
you pinpointed a generic.
I didn't pinpoint
No,
a
no,
generic
no.
anything.
Everyone
I
can
said
be like-
biryani.
Yeah, biryani. I love the flavor.
Making Indian food.
No, you didn't
yes.
say you love Indian making. You're like, I love
Yeah,
biryani because
curries.
it's the flavor.
Biryani is Indian.
But what flavor? No, but there's so many different types of Indian food.
And
So, like,
biryani is one of them.
It is one of them. But like,
Yeah.
what about their flavor that excites you? Like their
Cardamom.
spice? No, sorry, I'm
Yeah.
not buying that shit. Because
You're
I'm
not
like,
buying that. I like cardamom.
no, you can like cardamom, but
So
when
what the fuck are
no,
you
no,
saying,
when people
dude?
no, when you're just like, oh, what's your favorite dish
You're
to make?
speaking out of your ass.
No, 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 no.
Yes.
When you're like, oh, what's your favorite food to make? Like, oh,
All right.
and not from
okay,
you.
You're not speaking out of
in
your
general, it's just like, oh, I love making chili. Well, like,
Uh-huh.
why the fuck do you love making chili? Because I love
Because
to
that
eat it.
shit is good.
It is good.
Yeah.
It is good,
So, and you're saying that's not a good reason.
no, because
That means nothing.
no.
Uh-huh.
I'm saying like if you're saying that you love to cook and you love food
Uh-huh.
and you love the experience of it,
And
it's
I
like,
can't make it because I like to eat it.
but
And
what
because
about?
it's
But what?
very flavorful.
But what about chili? What about the dish of chili that makes you like it? The spice of what? Like the this of what? It's like,
I just told you it's delicious.
but what makes it delicious?
Everything in it.
What
the
is in it?
beer, the chili powder. Yeah.
And I'm not saying this to you. Like, I think that's just bullshit.
You think it's bullshit to like food because that's flavorful.
No, I do agree that, but it's like when people ask me like what my favorite dish to make is, it's like, like I don't have a favorite dish because I enjoy the.
I don't have a favorite dish either.
You just said biryani and like.
Yeah,
Indian
I didn't
food.
say it was my favorite. I
You
said
it
I
was
love to make it.
Right, but why do you love to make it? Because you like to eat it.
Because it's flavorful.
Right, but like.
Right.
Right, but it's flavorful.
But that means nothing.
No, I don't like. I like bake. No. I feel like it is like people are just like, oh, like, what do you love to make? Like, oh, I love making this dish. And it's like, well, why? Because oh, it tastes good. It's
That's
like,
fucking great.
It's not
priceless.
It's not priceless. I really would like you to put this shit in because I feel like people's perspective of like, oh, I love to cook, I love to do this, and it's like, okay, like you would love to do it, but like, why? Oh, because it's flavorful, it tastes good.
Because it's flavorful and it tastes good.
Right,
yeah.
but what makes it taste good? What makes you enjoy?
So here we go. Okay, Emma. There's coriander. There's cumin. There's cardamom.
Right, but does that excite?
There's a bunch of chilies.
I understand that.
Yes.
I understand that.
There's layering
Yeah, there's flavors.
Yes.
There's flavors that make it flavorful.
But
that
it
you-
means nothing.
No, because if you fuck
You're
off.
retarded.
No, you're retarded because if you are just generalizing a fucking
I'm not
flavor.
generalizing
No.
anything.
Because Indian people love fucking making Indian food.
Okay.
So why do you like making Indian food? Because it like does adding this flavor like do something to a dish that like you enjoy doing, like just understanding what cardamom does for the dish or like what it does to this dish that is
You're
like
overthinking
no,
this
I'm not.
way
No,
too much.
No, I'm not.
Yes.
Because
People like to eat food because that shit is good.
right, but when you're
Right.
no.
And that doesn't not mean nothing.
Okay,
that
doesn't mean
nothing.
Okay, whatever. But when you're asking me what I love to cook,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just like, oh, I love to cook this because I love to eat it.
Yeah.
It's like it's a completely different thing.
No,
because
it's not a completely different thing.
is
It's
a
the
completely
same fucking
it's
exact
not
fucking thing.
Because I don't love to eat pancakes. I fucking don't like pancakes. But when
And you're being retarded when
no,
you're making
no,
pancakes.
fuck off. Because when I'm making pancakes,
You fuck off.
no, because when I made pancakes and I was just like, oh shit, like let me try adding this shit to it because it can do this, and then
Because it can do what?
it's an experiment. Like
Uh-huh.
it's like the process. Like
Uh-huh.
you don't care.
But that means nothing.
No, you know what? Oh my god, fuck off. Okay, I'm bad with my words, but I feel like it's such a shitty question to ask cooks.
It's not a shitty
No,
question.
it is because it's just like
It's a very simple,
it's
straightforward.
not a straightforward question at all.
Yes, it
Are you
is.
kidding me?
You're just overthinking
No.
and overcomplicating
No.
the most basic, simple
It's
thing
not a simple
of
thing.
fucking humanity.
No.
That we eat food
No,
because
no,
that
no,
shit
no.
is
But then,
delicious.
but why?
It's
No,
fucking yummy.
it's delicious because why? Well, like if you're saying no, if you
It's delicious
no.
because of why?
Yeah, yeah. So like if you then
So
why?
you want me to become a neuroscientist and tell you exactly why it's delicious?
No, I want to know.
Because of the brain
No, no, no,
receptors
no, no, no,
and
no.
all the electrons
I want to
firing.
know why you
Why
as a
me? What?
as you
It's good. That's
no
why.
no I want to know why you as someone who claims to like love food and love cooking and love doing all this shit enjoys. It's not funny, and I'm like you're being an asshole. Like
I'm not.
if I'm just like, oh, I love plumbing. I'm like, no. You're saying you love to make this shit because it tastes good.
Yeah.
Well, fucking so does fucking Bob the Builder.
Okay, so
But you're claiming
then He loves to make fucking biryani.
But you're claiming yourself as like
I
someone
also
who...
love making gumbo because it's fucking
Right,
delicious.
but
Yeah.
but you're claiming...
But why?
Yeah, and the why is important.
Because it's flavorful.
Yeah, but why is it flavorful? What the fuck
Because
makes it
it's
flavorful?
fucking delicious.
Yeah, but why is it delicious? What the fuck makes it delicious? Like,
Who the fuck are you, a 3-year-old?
no, it's
Yes.
like, no.
That's what you're acting
You're
like.
claiming...
Literally.
No.
3 and 4-year-olds
You are
do
claiming...
this. But
No.
why?
You,
But why? Are we there yet?
you are claiming that you love food and you love the
I'm not claiming, it's a fact.
No, you're saying you love food and you're
Yeah.
a chef and you all this shit. But
I'm not saying I'm a chef and all this shit.
whatever. But you're like...
You're saying that I'm saying.
What's your title? You're a sous chef? Yeah, okay, so you're a sous chef.
I'm
and
not saying that. And I'm not saying that you're like what you're saying that I'm not saying.
You're just like, I love food and like I found a passion for food and
I do.
all this shit. Well, why do you have a passion for food? Because it fucking tastes good?
Because I love to cook.
Well, why do you love to cook?
I don't know. I love everything about it.
Well,
I
what
love-
about it do you like? The flavors?
Well, I like searing and I like layering. I just
Well,
told you
fucking
like
flavors,
a bunch
like-
of shit.
No, but then when I
No,
ask you...
but
when I ask you
but
about a
no.
specific dish,
uh-huh.
your answer is like, oh, the flavors of it are cool. It's like,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
It's delicious.
Anyone could say that. Fucking Bob the Builder could be like, oh, I can
and
read a
it's
recipe.
true.
Right, but there's no like in-depth like...
You didn't ask me to describe making the dish.
No, I'm not asking you to describe. I'm asking
Okay.
I'm asking what you enjoy about the process of it. And you'd be like, oh,
You didn't
like...
say. You didn't ask what I enjoy about
No,
the
but
process of
asking
it.
why
You asked
you-
me why I like it.
But you asked me what dish I enjoy cooking the most.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't say that because the dishes that I make.
Well, then you personally can't say that. I can.
But why?
Because you're overthinking this, and I'm not.
It's not an overthinking question, but it's like
It
if
is,
you're
and
gonna type.
you're overthinking.
No,
it.
it's not.
You're overcomplicating
I
the
don't
most
think I
basic
am.
human
I don't
shit.
think I am because
Okay,
if you're like, oh,
that's your opinion.
I enjoy cooking this shit because it tastes
It's
good.
true.
Because people can enjoy cooking fucking dog shit. Be like, oh, it tastes good.
Really? Show me one person enjoys cooking dog shit.
People,
I want to see that.
okay, I just am like, okay, I'm not gonna continue because it's like, and I'm not trying to be like critiquing of you, but I just
Yeah,
don't,
you are.
I don't like that question.
Because you're being retarded. You're
being
critiquing
retarded.
me in the most retarded fucking
No,
way.
I'm not because it's
Why
just
do you like making this? Because it's flavorful. It's
No,
delicious.
that's a bunch of bullshit.
But why?
Yeah, why?
It's
why?
not a bunch of bullshit.
No,
it's
it
a
is
fucking
why. Because
straightforward
someone
answer.
someone who's like doesn't know shit about anything could be like, oh, I like making gumbo because it tastes good, and because I followed a fucking recipe that like makes like when I make it, it tastes good. That doesn't mean shit. It's
Okay.
like
It
no,
doesn't mean shit.
if you don't if
It
there.
doesn't mean shit.
No, I don't think
to
it
make
means
something
shit.
taste good.
No, it means shit to make
That's
something.
the only thing that is relevant. That
No,
means anything.
but if you
is
don't-
making shit
But
taste
if you
good.
don't know why it tastes good and why you enjoy fucking
I'm not a
making it,
scientist.
no, then why
I
are you a
can't-
fucking chef? Like
You have to be a scientist to be a chef.
you should understand why flavors
I
work.
should. I have to.
You don't have to, but
To
like
be a chef, I have to. It's a requirement.
you don't have to. But if you're saying
Really?
that you have a passion
It's not.
for it,
It's not my passion to understand why flavors are flavors.
no, like why does this make you feel happy? Like why do you feel joy when you fucking make gumbo? Because you put all the shit together
Because
from
it's spicy and delicious.
oh, it's spicy, delicious. Like
Yes.
so is fucking chili.
Yeah, it
So
has
is
a,
the
it has a
fucking-
brown roux.
So is a
which
fucking
has
No, so is a Calabrian fucking filled pizza that didn't like.
Uh-huh.
You're retarded.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Cause it's
So
just
you can't tell me what food you like, but because
no,
I can tell you
no,
what
no,
food
no,
I
no.
like,
But I'm telling you,
it's
no. I'm
it doesn't
telling-
mean anything.
no. I'm telling you that I don't enjoy. Like I don't like making pancakes, but
you
when
can't tell me one thing you do like making.
I like making things that like.
You see, that doesn't mean anything.
No, it does mean stuff
No,
because
it
no,
doesn't.
because
What means something is being able to say what you like making.
right, but
a
you don't.
dish.
No, you don't have to like making a dish. You can like.
You
making,
don't like making any dish.
I like making rice when
You like making rice.
No, but the fact of making rice is like.
Take rice, add water.
No. Fuck
Yeah.
off. Because if you add a tea bag to rice, it changes the
So
flavor.
you like making rice.
No. It's not the rice.
That's one of the things
It's
you like
not
making.
the rice portion.
It's the science portion.
It's like, wow, like cool, like I could like and fuck, it's rice. Like who the fuck cares about rice? But oh, like wow, like I can like how
you
can
could take water and add to rice.
no
and
no
make,
no if
and-
no because instead of being like oh like you can add this
But you can't tell me what food you like to eat.
no I mean I like eating everything.
You like eating everything. You
Mostly.
don't. That's
I don't
not an
like
answer.
I don't like
See,
spice.
that means nothing.
I don't like spice when it doesn't
I like
add
eating
anything.
everything means nothing.
I don't think it adds.
Unless you actually like eating everything,
don't
which
like-
you don't.
I don't like adding spice when it doesn't mean anything to the dish, like the Calabrian chili bullshit pizza. Like
It's
it was
bullshit
it was
to
a
you.
perfectly good pizza, and they add spice.
It's
to it.
bullshit to you because you don't like spice.
Right, but you
and
like
you
make-
can't handle
But
it.
you like making gumbo because it's so delicious. But you can't understand. You can't describe why it's delicious.
I can't describe the science behind a gumbo.
Yeah, exactly.
So it means nothing.
Exactly. Because you don't have.
You're retarded.
You're retarded. Because there's no like, there's like no in depth emotion to the fucking process of it.
You can't tell me one dish you like to
I
eat.
told you I like eating
You
a lot of
can't
shit.
No, that means nothing.
I like eating.
You can't tell me one dish you like to eat.
I like eating cold Alfredo.
Cold Alfredo.
Yes.
And you're a cook.
Yes.
Okay. Cold Alfredo.
Because it just tastes good.
Okay. Well, this was lots of fun. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Goodbye.
Don't be mad at me.
No.
Oh Lord, I wanna be manipulated, mind controlling, inundated. I will seek the revelation and make my life a celebration. I wanna be the change I'm seeking, manifest the words I'm speaking. I refuse to be imprisoned. I will make my own decisions. I'm on a permanent holiday. I'm going out.